Our discussion post this week was to explain the differences between freedom and liberty in early Western civilization. And the terms freedom and liberty are two closely related terms, probably more so today than they've ever been. And most people would probably call them the same thing, but they're not. If we look at the Oxford Dictionary definition, liberty is a state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life, behavioral, or political views, while freedom is defined as the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants. And you see two early scholars, Aristotle and Cicero, they define freedom and liberty in some of their works. Aristotle's Politics, his work Politics, defines freedom as a capacity to direct oneself to those ends which one's reasons rightly recognizes as choice-worthy. Self-direction rather than spontaneous is a crucial element of freedom. Freedom as a condition of soul rather than a conventionally granted civil status. And then Cicero, in his de facto work, says freedom of action is not necessarily to enjoy liberty. If your freedom is held at the discretion of anyone else, such as that you continue to be subject to their will, then you remain a slave. To enjoy liberty, in other words, is not sufficient to be free from coercion or threat of it. It is necessary to be free from the possibility of being threatened or coerced. So to me, freedom is being free as in you're not a slave or you're not in jail maybe. And liberty is, having the freedom to choose on your own and there not being a threat of somebody coercing you or somebody fixing your decision. So really, in early Western civilization, people had freedom. Well, some people, not all people, but white Europeans had freedom, but they didn't necessarily have liberty because they were influenced by a king, maybe, or a different type of monarchy. But their day-to-day lives, they had freedom. They could choose. Their based on their free will. However, they didn't have liberty because they were influenced. They were coerced by a higher power, and it could be the church, even in some instances during the early Western civilization. So to be completely free, like we are in America today, we have freedom as we're not slaves, we're not serfs, and we have liberty in that we can make our own decisions and we don't have a threat. We have freedom of speech, freedom of freedom of religion. We can make decisions on our own without fear of backlash. And that's really what liberty is about. And even in, when the American Revolution, you see us going from free, we're free British subjects. We have freedoms, but we fear reprisal from the king or reprisal from the British government in America. And then we really get liberty when we become an independent country. We still have laws and things like that, but my day-to-day life, I can say things, I can post on social media and not be afraid that our government's going to come and impose their will on my freedoms or my liberty, my thoughts. So, the difference between liberty and freedom. Freedom is not being a slave. Freedom is being able to do things you want to do. Liberty is being able to do those things without fear of a higher power or other people infringing on your freedoms.